Wylder is an insanely powerful character in Nightreign. In fact, he's probably the most balanced and well-rounded, having extremely powerful ults that cause all kinds of stance breaks, whilst prioritizing weapons like greatswords to deal an immense amount of damage. And of course, in this video we're going to go through everything that Wylder has to offer so that you guys understand exactly how he works, so that you can win your games every single time you use him. So yes guys, welcome back to another ultimate guide on the channel, where of course today we're going to be going through Wylder. I know he's probably one of the characters that everybody has used already and has probably become well accustomed to. However, there are still some key things to note that maybe you guys weren't aware of. So as I say, we're going to be going through everything today, but just like how we start pretty much all of these guides, if you come to the codex, you can check out the stats that Wylder has. And as you can see, he's got an A-rated scaling in both HP and strength, before then having a B in dexterity and stamina, with the rest of the stats being C. So like I said at the beginning, he's really well rounded and kind of covers pretty much every weapon in the game, as he'll be able to do at least something with a faith and an intelligence or arcane based weapon, and of course has a tremendous amount of health if you carry on going through your levels, but of course prioritizes the use of things like greatswords. Wylder does have a unique greatsword moveset, but because he's got that A-rated scaling in strength, he's actually extremely useful with colossal weapons, greatswords, axes, great axes, basically anything that is a strength based weapon. And again, I'm going to point this out real quick, because the stats for weapons have changed in Nightreign and it's purely now based on the weapon type. Wylder gets the best out of weapons like the Dark Moon Greatsword, because that's no longer highly infused into intelligence, it's actually better with strength but has C's in intelligence and dexterity. And it's a similar situation with things like Malekith's Blackblade, the Godslayer's Greatsword, and even things like Mogwin's Sacred Spear, because they've got split scalings but prioritize strength. That fits Wylder to a T, like I mentioned earlier. So Wylder is extremely versatile and you've got many different options, because if you do pick up something again like the Sword of Night and Flame, which you would think would be best with someone who's high in either intelligence or faith, because it's got C ratings for all of its stats across the board, Wylder still actually gets the best out of this weapon. But no matter what weapon you use, he still has some incredible abilities, much like his passive ability, Sixth Sense, which actually saves you from death once per life. If you are to take a fatal blow from an enemy, whether that be a boss or just a generic enemy, you will do a somersault out of the way, cheating death and essentially staying alive when you should have been dead. And that does happen automatically. You don't need to press a button, the game will just save you. But this effect only gets restored if either one, you are playing co-op and get revived by another player if you do go down, or two, you pass through a site of grace, essentially refreshing your character. And of course, as much as that ability is amazing by itself, you've still got two more skills. One of them is going to be the character skill, which is the claw shot or grappling hook that Wylder uses, and this can be used both defensively and offensively, because essentially whenever you hold your Y or triangle button and press LT or L1, if you hold it down, you can actually aim a crosshair which dictates where Wylder is going to shoot his grappling hook. This is based on where your character is facing, it's not based on the camera, so like you can't move the right stick to adjust your camera to look left or right to aim at this claw. It is actually based on what direction Wylder is looking, so you actually have to use your left stick to aim this if you're trying to free aim it. But if you are locked onto an enemy and use it, based on what type of enemy it is, you will either pull the enemy towards you, to which then you can do a light or heavy attack and hit them in the face after pulling them towards you, or you will grapple towards them, which again you can do a light or a heavy attack, swinging your sword or weapon, whatever it is, when you obviously get to them. This can be affected by relics in the game by adding a different element to your weapon when you do this move, and there's also relics that increase the amount of times you can use your claw before you have to replenish it. But as much as you can do that to close the gap between your enemies or bring them towards you and obviously start hitting them, you can use it in an evasive way, because again, if you aim Wylder with your left stick, so just change the direction he's facing, you can quickly use the grappling hook on the floor near you to pull you away in a completely different direction, quickly shifting your momentum. And also it's good for traversing, because if you do that and then hit your jump button as soon as the grappling hook disappears, you will then be able to jump, continuing that momentum, obviously going much faster, allowing you to get away from big AoE attacks or just away from a certain boss if you need to heal. So it is very useful in an offensive set if you want to get close to your enemy and start dealing a lot of damage, or it's good in a defensive sense if you want to get away from them to either heal or revive somebody or just escape a really damning move. And the other beautiful thing about the grappling hook is it pairs beautifully with Wylder's art move. His Onslaught stake is basically a massive grenade on the end of his fist, which when fully charged you can hold your Y or triangle button along with your RT or R1 to charge up that explosive and punch your enemies with said explosive, causing either a mini stagger or full-on stance break based on the stance damage you've done previously and the type of enemy you're up against. This is of course perfect to stop certain night bosses AoEs and transitional moves, like for example Augur's move where he puts everybody asleep. You can close the gap on Augur by using the grappling hook to get over there like as soon as possible, then use this ultimate art to obviously cause him to stagger out of the sleeping move and prevent the entire team from potentially being wiped if they're not so tanky and wouldn't survive the entire phase. Again, much like the grappling claw, this also gets affected by certain relics where you can also leave additional fire on the ground, which will deal damage over time. So this skill can also be improved further, which the skill was already insane enough dealing the damage it does and also causing basically a free stance break. But you can also have fire on the floor whilst you're getting the riposte, dealing damage over time, making this one of the most ridiculous arts that the game has to offer. It's also got a fairly decent AoE, so again, if you're in co-op, you can kind of pair this with stunning the boss whilst also maybe reviving a teammate, because I believe it does 1 bar of the revival stage. So as I say, if you need to clutch up for your team, say everybody's down but you, and the boss is heading towards you and your teammates are also right in front of you, you can charge this up, stun the boss, get your teammates up, and then hopefully clutch up the victory afterwards. But as I've said pretty much throughout this entire video, Wylder is the perfect sort of jack of all trades. He could be a support class if you wanted to tailor him to that, using the ultimates to revive people and obviously just deal damage over time, sort of scouring around the arenas with the grappling hook, reviving people, getting away from the fight, but then also getting back in to deal extra damage if necessary. But then you can also be stupidly offensive, dealing tons of damage with whatever great swords or colossal weapons you picked up, using the ults to again cause all kinds of stance breaks, giving either yourself or your team the chance just to wail on said boss and turn Nightreign into a much easier game. Wylder is also perfect for solo, so if you are struggling with solo runs, definitely choose this guy because you're going to have an absolute blast with it, and that is everything you need to know to make that happen. So yeah, there you have it guys, that is the ultimate guide for Wylder. Like I kind of said towards the beginning, I know most people are already going to kind of know how to play this guy because it is pretty much just an instant win. Like, this guy covers pretty much every single weapon. He doesn't have a bad stat, like nothing's below C rating, so even if you do just go and pick up like daggers or twin blades or even things like staves and seals, you're still going to be doing a good amount of damage even with those things that aren't quote unquote tailored to this guy. But then when you pick up greatswords like the Dark Moon greatsword that I mentioned earlier, you are going to be doing an immense amount of damage. So hopefully that has obviously helped you understand how Wylder works. Obviously we're going to be going through the rest of the characters as well. We've already gone through the Executor class, so if you want to check that out, feel free to do so after this video ends. But if this particular video has helped you out or if you've enjoyed it in any way, if you don't mind me asking you just to leave a like rating down below, it genuinely helps out the channel a lot, and it also lets me know that you want to see the rest of the videos for the other classes, so any likes would be greatly appreciated. But if you do want to stick around for those other classes and more Nightreign streams and videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on those notification bells so you don't miss out on anything. But with that said, I've taken up more than enough of your time guys. Go and have an absolute blast with Wylder, because I know you're going to if you do use him, and I guess for now I'll catch you in the next video of whatever it is that we make. Bye bye.